Alright, my friends. The following, what I'm going to say, I was debating whether or not to make this video, but I think it needs to be made. And it actually weighs heavily on my heart, but I think it needs to be made. You know, folks, I just saw an interview with this couple, and the wife was a hostage. I'm not going to say their names, but his wife was a hostage, and she was released in the beginning of one of the first hostage releases in the beginning of the war. And I believe their relative is still a hostage, if I'm not mistaken. And they were interviewed by ABC News. And they're basically, the ABC News reporter is pressing them about Bibi. Do you think Bibi wants a deal? Do you think he wants a deal? This and that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The husband is trying to be diplomatic a little bit, fine. So he goes, Bibi, the two sides. There's two sides, right? There's Bibi and there's Sinwar. I'm just paraphrasing. Bibi is the Prime Minister of Israel. Sinwar is the military of Hamas, but also the political. And he goes, the two men need to sit down and take a breath. And they need to resolve this and need to seal the deal. So basically, this guy is making a moral equivalence between the Prime Minister of Israel and a sewer rat. Folks, I have my misgivings with Bibi, but don't get me started about things during COVID, about different things. But, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, he's a Jew. He tries. He tries for his country. He's doing whatever he can in this particular situation. He's not ideal. Believe me, he's not ideal. I would have him do other things. But this guy is saying he needs to sit down and talk. Friends, and now you can come and say, well, Tzvi, what if it was your relative in there? What if it was your relative? Folks, you know what I would say if it was my relative in there? I'll tell you exactly what I would say. I mean, it's easy for me to say, but I'll tell you exactly what I could say. I for sure, like 100%, I know clear as day that I would not want my relative exchanged for, multiple orcs in our prisons. I would not want there to be a ceasefire, which means that we stop going after Hamas, that we don't finish the job. Folks, I don't know if you know this, and I'm going to lay this down here. I've never said this before, but my friends have told me, and we've spoken about it in private. Any scenario, I'm going to repeat this multiple times, any scenario that involves any Arab staying in Gaza is a lost war for Israel. I'm going to repeat this again. Any scenario that ends in any Arab person staying in Gaza is a lost war for Israel. It's mission not accomplished. So this guy at the end, the husband, he said, yeah, hostages don't get released while there's guns firing. Folks, last I checked, they released the first batch of batch of hostages when the war started, right? So I don't know what he's talking about. Folks, this is madness. This is absolute madness. So they want to bring these people home. They want us to capitulate to these orcs. They want us to bring these people home in exchange for... Folks, he's mentioning Sinwar. Do you know? Everybody knows, in case you forgot. Sinwar was one of the 1,000 and some odd orcs, 1,017 or 1,031, exchanged for Gilad Shalit. Folks, Hamas has a military commander that planned this entire massacre because we exchanged him and a bunch of other orcs for Gilad Shalit. my friends. And now we did that. He planned the attack, and now this guy, this gentleman wants Bibi to sit down with, take a breath, with the sewer rat, to release more of people like him, or rats like him, creatures, orcs like him, into the wild to plan more attacks. Folks, he doesn't understand. There's going to be more death on our side. Folks, this is an example of what's called suicidal empathy. This is an example. You could look at these people. You could see them. They look like they're sick. Not sick because they have their relative is a hostage. They're sick because they have a sick mindset. They have their brain. And by the way, guys, the government of Israel, when they pulled out religious Jews out of Gush Katif, out of Gaza, and allowed these people to live on the border, these types of people, most of the people that were hostages were these types of people, the ones from Be'eri, all these kind of places, they knew that this was going to be the case. They knew this was going to happen. They allowed these basically commies to live there, and then of course the commies get taken as hostages, and the commies have this mindset: hey, we have to release 1,000 of these orcs for one of my relatives. Folks, it pains me to say all of this. I didn't want to make this video, but this has to be said. It's absolutely mental. Bring them home. Folks, it's mental. You understand? Our boys are in Gaza now. They're dying because of this stuff. We have soldiers dying because of this. You're talking about settler violence? Half the guys that have died are from Judea and Samaria. Half the soldiers. You're complaining about religious guys not serving the army? Half the soldiers that have died in this conflict, almost half, are from Judea and Samaria. The very settlers you hate. And who are they dying for? Just so these commie hostages can be released. Yeah, they should be released. They happen to be commies. Yes, they happen to be leftists. A lot of them. Not all of them, a lot of them. Folks, this is sick. It was first and foremost orchestrated by our government, by the Israeli government, and now Hamas knew, right? And the international community knew. This crappy administration in America knew. All these people knew that this was going to be the button to push, the sore spot. They knew. This is the psychological game here, guys, and they've won. They've won. The only way for us to battle back, the only way for us to win, is to not play their game. Is to just continue and continue and continue until they're all gone. I'm not saying, you say, Tzvi, what, kill all the Arabs in Gaza? No, don't kill the Arabs in Gaza. Kill all Hamas, okay? And as my friend Mordechai Kedar likes to say, it's a pyramid, so we don't know how many of the citizens of Gaza are supporters of Hamas, or part of Hamas, or kind of just apathetic, or just, let things slide. The assumption is they all support Hamas. That's the assumption. 95% of them support Hamas. That's like, at best, for us. Folks, again, I'm repeating again. And you can argue with me, people disagree, this, and folks, I'm telling you now, any scenario that allows even one Arab person to stay in Gaza is mission not accomplished. Hamas must be destroyed. These people must be moved somewhere else. The tunnels have to be flooded, and we have to resettle that place. That's the only way to guarantee this never happens again. And for sure, to guarantee this never happens again, we don't exchange another 1,000 of them for every one hostage, just like we did with Gilad Shalit, and one of them was Yahya Sinwar. Again, this guy said, "Oh, Bibi and Sinwar got to take a breath and sit down." Folks, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. I don't know what kind of sick ideology a person has to have to believe that this Sinwar guy is even on the same wavelength as normal humans. You have to be, I don't know, you have to be on drugs or something. I don't know what these people are on. It can't just be their political leanings. It has to be some kind of a sickness. I don't know, folks. Again, it's a pain for me to make this video. It's a pain, but it must be said because it's one of those things. I think the only other person that said something to the effect of what I'm saying is Jonathan Pollard, and he got flagged for it. And you know what? You got to say the truth. You got to say the emes like it is. And it's hard. It is hard. Because it's Jews, and it's hostages, and it's human beings, and, it's war. But, guys, I'm telling you right now, if it was one of my relatives or somebody close to me, I would be like, for sure, do not exchange 1,000 of these orcs for one of my relatives. Do not do that. And for sure, do not stop. For sure. Especially since most of those people are probably dead. Folks, we keep just finding bodies. We keep on finding bodies. That's what I think Bibi is doing. He knows that most of the people are probably not with us anymore, and it's just, it's enough time to recover the bodies. And at this point, we're just going to be exchanging. So what? We're exchanging, unfortunately, Nifter Jews for live orcs. No, that's stupid too. My friends, they knew what they were doing. The Israeli government knew what they were doing at the time. I suspect certain elements, not the whole government. We're talking about 20 years ago, 18 years ago. And these folks know what they're doing now. But I don't think these people who are talking about Yahya Sinwar taking a breather, know what they're doing. I think they're just... It's La La Land. Anyway, guys, if you want to scream at me, if you want to curse at me, feel free, but I had to get this off my chest. Alright, talk to you soon.